Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Cleveland Browns halftime report with the score 7-0. The Cleveland Browns in the lead. Well, here's some things that I can tell you. The Eagles have come out to take the Browns running game away, flat out. 9 men at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to run the ball against us. It's up to Baker Mayfield to make a play. He had 2 chances to score a touchdown on the one end of the field. He screwed up 2 throws. However, we were fortunate. Takitaki on the next turnaround got the interception that went for the touchdown. But with the ball in the wet weather, the Eagles haven't even hardly tried to throw the ball, and when they did, it didn't make any sense. I don't know what Doug Peterson is half brain dead. He ran the ball down the Cleveland Browns' throat to begin the game, and the Browns couldn't stop the running game. Our defensive line appeared totally listless and without any passion, and they moved right down the field. Then we got that strip and fumble recovery. And then they came out throwing the ball, and you saw what happened. I mean, he's staring down a wide open receiver, Carson Wentz, and he ends up waiting in the pocket and standing still like a statue. Denzel Ward, it kind of hits him as he's throwing the ball. It loops up in the air. Takitaki intercepts it. This is not what I would call anything unusual as far as this kind of weather is concerned. The Eagles have come out and said, we don't believe that Baker Mayfield can beat us. And so far, it isn't Baker Mayfield that's beating them. It's the weather and actually 2 turnovers and the mistakes that they're making, jumping off sides and that kind of thing. That's what's happening. As far as statistically is concerned, Baker Mayfield 7 of 15 for 112 yards, a 72 rating. Carson Wentz is 7 of 9, threw the ball only 9 times with that 1 big interception and a 68.8 rating. But this is the part that's really peculiar. Miles Sanders is averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Boston Scott 4.8. It makes you wonder. Why aren't they running the ball more consistently against the Cleveland Browns? And to tell you the truth, I don't have an answer for you. This is the type of game where, again, if they're going to commit this many men to the line of scrimmage, and you're the Cleveland Browns, you're going to have to find open men. And I give credit once again. The good red zone play calling. I mean, he had both Harrison Bryant and Austin Hooper wide open in the end zone. He chose Hooper in the rear of the end zone and way overthrew that ball. And the one before that, Harrison Bryant was wide open, way underthrew that ball. And fortunately, we got a penalty called when the guy just ran into him by face guarding him. But other than that, there's not much to report about this game, except that if you're the Cleveland Browns, you have to bring out some of that special passing game and high percentage passing game if they're going to continue to sell out at the line of scrimmage against the run. And again, this is not a rap on Baker Mayfield. It is a fact. He has to make plays in a situation like this. And it's only a matter of time that you would see teams, succumbing to the run against the Cleveland Browns. And the Eagles just said, we're not going to be the next victim of that. They've played a great game stuffing the run. There's been nothing there for Hunt on the goal line. There was nothing there. There was, and it was a good call spotting it short of the end zone. But we had 2 chances to throw it in. And in both occasions, he was not pressured and he had men wide open. This is what the Browns are going to have to do. And there is more risk in throwing the ball in this wet weather than there is in running it. So, but this is how quarterbacks earn their millions. That's what it amounts to. And this is not a matter of pointing fingers and blaming one guy. It's just saying there's going to be times when it's your turn and your number that's called. And if you are Baker Mayfield, this is your week. And it's a tough week to have it happen because honestly, it's not that the wind or anything like that, but this constant drenching rain has soaked the ball. And you could see that even Carson Wentz is not really all that comfortable with it. And, and there's likely to be other turnovers because even the running game, as the Eagles found out, you can get a ball stripped when it's wet and slippery. The initial play call of the game that I think, about Njoku, I mean, that was thrown in traffic. Literally, the first two passes of the game that Baker Mayfield threw could have been intercepted. One should have been intercepted, but it would have been negated by the penalty against the Eagles. But the first one that Njoku went up with, he was covered pretty well, and that ball tipped off his hands and on a deflection could have been picked off. So you really want to make sure that if they're going to sell out against the run, you still have to use an occasional run and you have to do play action to get them to bite so that your tight ends and your drag patterns that we talked about on Friday will be open across the field. It's going to be hard to get people deep because the Browns just don't have a burner. This is where the loss of OBJ affects the Browns most seriously. Is a situation like this, you saw Hollywood Higgins get behind somebody. Had that been OBJ, he would have been 5 or 6 yards behind, and that would have been a touchdown. So without that lightning speed on the outside, the Cleveland Browns have to really kind of play the middle of the field, and they don't have deep threat pass threats. So this is good decision-making by Peterson and his staff defensively. Offensively, I think that they should have continued running the football, and they still will, getting the ball in the beginning of the second half. And I'm sure they're going to take a look at it and say, hey, look, we can get a big passing play, but it's going to come from run, wear down the Browns defense, catch that secondary falling asleep. Sendejo wouldn't be Sendejo without making a knucklehead play, a cheap shot on a guy who wasn't even in the play for no reason, running into his back and getting a 15-yard unsportsmanlike, penalty. It's pathetic that this guy's playing. I'm sorry. He's just not any good. Watching Ronnie Harrison getting taken off the field, I don't know if we have anything on him. I certainly am not scouring anything because I'm watching the football game in real time. But Ronnie Harrison appeared to have done something to his foot, perhaps, and that's something we could ill afford. Carl Joseph is not as good. So, if they can continue to run the football, it is going to leave us vulnerable in our secondary. It's up to the defensive line to decide whether the guys who are making $11 million a year are really willing to stick their nose into the fray and play fucking football. And I'm not real impressed. Olivier Vernon and Sheldon Richardson are two guys who are making between the two of them $22 fucking million. Now they should be putting out more. Now Claiborne got himself a sack, and we should have sacked on another play, and we did eventually when Wentz ducked under some things. But Wentz looks like he's having a confidence crisis. And it looks like the head coach, Peterson, is really calling plays like a second-string quarterback and, in essence, going ultimately conservative. And it looks like Carson Wentz's confidence is somewhat amiss. That's what it looks like to me. That's it. Oh, so Harrison had a knee injury. Thank you, Brian, and returned into the game. Okay, thank you. Now that you mention it, I did see him because they picked on him that one play and got the long pass to the tight end. So yes, thank you for reminding me. I do appreciate it. And, Wable, I wouldn't say that Wentz sucks. I think the circumstances that you play in determine a lot. And it's been a self-destructive year for the Eagles. I would not count on that if I were the Browns. The Browns need to put points on the board and put their foot down on the throats of these teams and these teams that we're playing. And the only way it's going to get done, it's not going to, we had a 13 play drive that went 94 and a half yards and came up half a yard short. But it was not accomplished too much with the running game. It was being done with sharp, accurate passes over the middle and the long 43-yard pass to Higgins. They're not going to allow us to just possess the ball, running the ball up and down. And our offensive line need to chew them out, quite honestly, for the first time in weeks, I saw Jedrick Wills get flat out beat off the line of scrimmage. And that's an unusual thing in the sack of Baker Mayfield. And again, Brian, it's not a matter of Carson Wentz sucking. 7 of 9 is representative of the way the game's being called by the offensive coordinator and the head coach of the team. I think, they've seen 13 interceptions. They don't want to see number 14. But when you start doing things like that to a quarterback who's really a drop back passer and not a big scrambler, you're taking away a downfield weapon and, against a team that has a weak secondary. So, and yes, if Myles Garrett was playing in this game, it probably would be different. But that's just, if the queen had balls, she'd be king. That's just not really happening. Where are we at now as far as the start of the second half of the game? Somebody check on that for me, please. As far as the second half, you're going to need to assert some running game. Absolutely. But you've got to start getting to a piece of the playbook where smart play action passing and precision passes, maybe some screen passes, get some balls out on the flat that let Kareem Hunt get out into the open field. That kind of a thing, as opposed to on a wet field trying to run the ball outside. It just doesn't look like the traction is very good. The most effective runs that the Eagles have had were inside runs, and everything the Browns have tried inside has been stuffed, absolutely stuffed. So thanks, El Presidente. I appreciate it. So that's it. I mean, you're going to have to come out and establish 4 and 5 yard runs if you can to keep them honest so that play action will work for you and so that you utilize your tight ends, because that's where it's at. And on a wet field, I don't trust Njoku to make catches either. So, and yes, we have to stop the run. And at 6-3, we have a chance to go 7-3. The Ravens are in a close game. You don't know what's going to happen there. They're currently up 14-7 from what I saw. So, that's it. That's what I see at halftime. And as far as we'll be back after the game, and we'll talk about this post game. And this is of concern because the longer these teams stick around, the worse that things can happen to you. And these weather conditions at home are not letting us implement the second half of our season offensive adjustments, because and plus our own lack of wide receiver speed is preventing downfield stuff. So thanks a lot, everybody, for checking out the halftime show. I'll be back after the game with the post-game show. And let's go Browns and bring this one home and get to 7-3. We need it big time. I'll see you after the game. Bye-bye.